Hey all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm just gonna talk. As I said, or in some of my streaming videos, basically once a week I'm gonna do at least a once a week live stream. In this case, I am live streaming from OBS, and unfortunately, I can't. If someone's gonna be sending a chat, I won't be able to see the chat for some reason. I don't know why OBS and YouTube aren't working really well together for some reason. It's not showing me all the chats or any comments that are coming in play, basically, so I won't be able to see it. But if you are sending it, please do send them anyways. So today's topic, basically, it was baseball season or opening day a couple week ago, or close to a week ago, 7 days basically. And it's one of those things where right now, the way the Mets were playing at the time, it sounded like, okay, you know what, they might be doing good, they might do well, they might resume where they were left off basically last year, towards the beginning of August, beginning of August basically, when they were winning. Towards the tail end of August as well as in September, they kind of started losing it up and lost out to the Rays as a result of it, basically. And I think that was more of a case of them being tired out. So in this case right now, I mean, they were doing really well, the Mets. Honestly, they were at a record of essentially prior to playing the Brewers, they were 3-1, pretty much in first place in the East. Now, they went after playing the but this was against the Marlins, of course. So, like the Marlins, they were shut out in one game. It seems like every game that they lose, which was that one game, it's a case where like they can't score a run. And so, lo and behold, what happens? They go and play the Brewers in Milwaukee. And what happens? They lose both games. Monday's game as well as Tuesday's game, or today's game as well. And as you can see from the score here, basically, you'll see basically from the first on Monday's game, they lost 10-0, and then today they lost 9-0, basically. So the real question is it seems like if they're gonna lose by not scoring a run, and the fact that haven't scored a run in this case for 18 innings plus another 4 more, so I think that's about 21 innings that they haven't been able to score, is a little surprising. Question is like they play the Brewers tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? Basically, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. But the question is like it comes down to this: basically, where are the Mets at for the rest of the season? If this is how they're going, should we panic? Basically, I think that's what it comes down to. Basically, should they panic? Because the thing is, their pitcher right now is tomorrow. That's slated tomorrow as Dave Peterson. And, of course, for the Brewers, it's Burns, who is 0-1 with a 7.2 ERA. So this is a guy that has a 7.2 ERA. Can the Mets actually come back? Can the Mets bats wake up and actually beat the Brewers tomorrow? It's a 1:20 p.m. game. It's hard to say. Hopefully, knock on wood, they can, but we'll see what happens, basically. But the question is this a game? Is this a case where should the Mets panic, or is this a case where, like, you know what, this is typical Mets? They'll probably start off strong and then probably end off, with not a losing record, but either one making the playoffs or barely making the playoffs and just disappoint the fans a little bit more. I mean, so long as they make it competitive. The question is like if this is how they're going to play with the rest of the season for teams that are going to be really good, like the Brewers in this case. I think we've got problems then at this point. And honestly, it's a matter of playing the Brewers as well as let's see how they do when they play against the Phillies as well as the San Diego Padres. I think I mentioned earlier in one of my earlier videos, basically. And by the way, if you are welcome to comment, if you have any comments, feedbacks, please, I welcome your comments or feedback in the comment section. I do read them and I do take them to heart and I try to essentially take that into account and try to make my videos much more better. I kind of try to treat these videos as sort of a podcast type of thing more than anything else. But that's pretty much it in my aspect. Actually, you know what? I do need to listen to myself because I can't hear it from this aspect. Anyways, from that perspective, the real question comes down to is this. Are the Mets really that... I think it does come down to this basically. Are the Mets problematic? That's the real question. No one knows, to be honest. Because like let's push come to shove. It's hard to say what's going to be the case because quite honestly, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I wish I could say I know what would, but I honestly don't know, quite honestly, because, these are the Mets. the Mets, however they want to play, they'll play. How to the point of however Buck Showalter plays them. I mean, I won't be surprised if the Mets, prior to the trading deadline, start looking for more pitchers, because it looks like it's more of a case where like some of the pitchers, there are issues basically. Verlander's out, so we have no idea how he's going to do. Scherzer, I mean, he did play today, and look where they're at basically. So it's a case of like, is age now finally caught up to Verlander? I mean, Scherzer at this point. Um, it's a tough gamble to say with the Mets. Basically, it's a gamble, like I say, with the Mets. I can't say this though. If the Mets do finish above 500, it's a matter of how far above 500 they finish off at. Because quite honestly, it's a tough sell. From a team that came from 101 wins last year to, let's say, 90 wins the year following. And some might say it was like, oh well, like the Phillies loaded up. So did the Padres and such. I mean, so it's like the NL East is becoming a loaded team basically. It's like becoming superstars, and the Cubs have in some cases of some people there, and the Braves as well. And let's not forget the Braves. The Braves, what they did last year, they might come back up again basically, and they're probably the team to beat. Honestly, everyone's thinking that the Mets are probably the team to beat. In reality, I think it's going to be either the Braves or Phillies in the East, for that matter. But like I said, don't be surprised if we'll see Billy Epler and Sandy Alderson, going in and basically trying to essentially make the Mets much better by like trading off some draft, not draft capital, but more of like some of their farms to bring in some veterans basically. Because quite honestly, this is not going to last. And honestly, it's a case of like, if they are 500 by All-Star break, put it bluntly, I think for sure Epler as well as Alderson for sure, they're going to be sellers. The Mets will be sellers. They're going to sell off the team, basically, and not sell off the team, but remove some people at this point and like try to build off of some younger talent. I.e. going for Ohtani in the free agency market, as well as any other players that are going to be free agents next year as well too. But with that, this is one of those things where I don't think anyone anticipated the. Well, like I said, it's a little early to say, to be quite honest, because let's put it bluntly, it's only 6 to 7 games basically right now, so I would not be too concerned. It's just more of a case where like, should they be? I don't know honestly, because quite honestly, this is a case where the Mets, I'm sorry, I'm getting some messages, and unfortunately, sometimes a lot of the cases, it comes in for whatever reason. Anyways, but anyways, sorry. To the point, this is not what I anticipated. Quite honest, I don't think anyone anticipated this. To the point where the Mets would. You know what? Honestly, I can't say anything because it's still too early to tell. I could say like, hey, we got problems. There's a problem basically, and it's one of those things where the Mets are going to have issues and all that stuff. But you know what? Quite honestly, I don't think this is a big thing to worry about right now. This is something too early. I think this is more of me just like overreacting maybe. I mean, it is a case where I do overreact a lot. I'll be upfront. I do overreact a lot. But at the same time, these last 2 games, I mean, 19 runs from the opposing team, and you can't even score a run. I mean, what do you do about that, honestly? What do you do? It's a case where, like, I wish I knew what they can say and do, but quite honestly, I honestly don't know. I wish I did know, but I don't. So, I don't know. So, like, with the Mets, basically, I'm just going to leave it at is for now. We'll see how they are, what they do. The question is, should they start panicking and start getting, start trading for some players immediately or signing any of the 8, players that are available right now? I don't know. It's hard to say. But let's change the subject slightly a little bit and like show what what I said basically last week or early in the week as well too. Let me basically resize it so you can see my face if you want to see my ugly mug. Anyways, the Yukon Huskies, of course, they won. As I said, basically between Gonzaga and Yukon, the winner of that team, the winner of that game would go on and win the entire thing basically because everyone else was pretty much weak at that point. It was between those two teams, and the way the Yukon Huskies were playing, they won yesterday, and congratulations to them in this case. It was a well played game. They definitely won in double digits as I expected them to, basically. And I said, if they were going to be leading by, at least by 7, 8 points or 10 points, at least by half, they'll definitely be winning by in double digits for sure, which they did. So I want to congrats to them and leave it at that. Now, with that, coming back to the Mets, of course, I don't know. You guys tell me. Let me know what you guys know. Basically, I mean not know, but like let me guys know what you think. Do you think the Mets are probably in a free fall? Is this a case of like what I think I mentioned in one of my earlier videos about when the Mets were trying to buy Alex Correa, when they were trying to get Correa and like trying to ready to brought in Verlander and a bunch of other players and such that Cohen was willing to break the bank to basically build a super team. The question is like is this kind of a playbook, not a playbook, but a footprint, following the footprint of what they did with the 93 Mets, bring in all the talent, sometimes a little bit aged talent, and, basically suck for the year and like have the worst record practically. It's a possibility that could be this case. Honestly, at least you don't have the distractions that were in the 93 Mets that we're here now. But again, it's a little early, but honestly, if they do follow the same tangibles as the 93 Mets, I think it's something that it's got to be looked into because, quite honestly, with Buck Showalter, I don't think he'll let that happen. Quite honestly, if that does happen, you can't put it at Buck Showalter. You can't put it on him. This is the talent that he was given. Quite honestly, I thought when they let DeGrom go, I thought it was a mistake, but he wanted to go to Texas, so there's not much the Mets could do with that. But the thing is, the Mets could have traded for other players. Signing Verlander was a nice sort of consolation. But the question is, you're getting a guy that's really, like at that age. The question is, he's not a Roger Clemens. So can he last that long? We'll find out. David Peterson. If Peterson comes up to play what he is, maybe that's great. The other aspect is of course with Carrasco. I think Carrasco's got issues right now. It's something where you hope he can like right himself. The pitching coaches can right himself and basically fix him. Basically, we'll see what happens there. But outside of that, it's again a little early to say. But I think the true measure comes in when the Mets play against the Braves, the Phillies, and of course the Braves, Phillies, and of course the San Diego Padres. I think those are the three teams that we got to follow through at this point and see how they play off. I mean, from that, if they are able to win out the series against those teams, I mean, that's great. So, I mean, like, quite honestly, let's wait till next Monday. Because, like, after Milwaukee, they play Miami again. And then in New York, City fell, so basically Thursday is the home opener for the Mets. And, of course, you got Miguel basically playing and then Senga. So we'll see how those do it. But then come next Monday, the Mets are playing San Diego with Scherzer, Peterson, and Miguel again pitching. Let's see how they do with that. Let's see how those three do against San Diego. If they do well against the Padres and they, let's say they win 2 out of the 3, I'm okay with it. And the same thing with the the Dodgers. If they beat out the Dodgers 2 out of 3, that'll be interesting to see. And then, of course, Atlanta happening towards the end of the month, and see how that plays out as well, too. Because, quite honestly, the Phillies, they're not going to play the Phillies until, like, the end of May, basically, towards Memorial Day. So we won't see that for a while. But if they can hold off and beat out Atlanta, because there's a 4-game series against Atlanta towards the end of April, and as well as the 3-game series against San Diego and the 3-game series against Los Angeles, the Dodgers. If they could beat out beat out those teams and sort of win those series, or yeah, have a win those series, I think they might do well at that point. But honestly, I don't know. But let me know your thoughts. Again, unfortunately, this live stream, this is something I wasn't prepared for. I just did it off the cuff because, quite honestly, it's sort of the beginning of the week. I didn't know what to talk about, to be quite honest. I was just going to talk. I was just going to ramble, but I didn't feel like rambling. I might as well talk about the Mets a little bit and see what they're, seeing like the last two games. I'm like, I was kind of semi worried, but I'm not overly worried. I mean, things might come back, and let's see what happens when Verlander comes back. Basically, quite honestly, let's see how also the farm system, because like they've got a couple of pitchers down there, and plus some of the batters down there. So let's see how they do as well too. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, let me know your thoughts. Also, please leave some feedback. I welcome some feedback and criticisms on my channels. What should I do better? Make it better. I know I'm all over the place with some of my thoughts, some of my videos with thoughts. I don't have them like well thought out, because one of the things is like I like to shoot off the cuff, top of my head stuff and stuff without even thinking. I just just spurt it out basically. But I'll leave it at that. I mean, outside of that, I hope you enjoy the channel. I hope you enjoy the videos I create and send out, as well as some of the videos, live streams that I pull out there. You could turn on the notification if you want to know about my live streams. Chances are it's going to be on a Sunday or Monday, or maybe towards the end of the week on Friday, basically. It's very rare that I'm going to be doing in the middle of the week. This is one of those rarities. But with that, I'll leave it at that. And of course, if you do like my videos and like my channel, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That'd be great. Also, please look forward to me going to one about Formula One. I'll be definitely going to one of the Formula One races, either in Miami, Vegas, or Austin, one of those three. And I'll try to live stream from there once I have the subscribers to be able to live stream from my device, or to maybe live stream a game from with the Angels or with the Dodgers out here in Southern California, where I'm at right now. Or N3 also, it would have been great. I would have loved to have live streamed the Islanders game when they were playing against the Anaheim Ducks. I was there. If you see my videos, I did live stream it. Unfortunately, not live stream it. I did record it, posted it up, but it wasn't that great. So I'd love to have live streamed it, honestly, at that point as well too. Recording all of it would have been, my phone would have ran out of, pretty much space at that point. And also at the same time, again, basically, if any sporting event I'm at and I have the ability to live stream from my phone, I will live stream. But unfortunately, I don't have beat the minimum requirements of like 1,000 subscribers or whatever it is to live stream. So if I hit that, then I'll definitely live stream from my device when I'm at these events as well too. But if you do like my content, please subscribe and also hit the like button if you like it. If you don't like it, you know what? If you don't like my content, you're welcome to dislike it as well too. I have no problem with it. I have no qualms with it. But again, subscribe and please comment. And I welcome open criticism as well as feedback. I would love feedback from everyone. If you can post it up there. And of course, the subject matters that I put in place, it's all over the board basically. There will be some text related stuff. Of course, I'll be putting some tech related stuff, as well as some related stuff to sports most likely. I could be talking about quite a number of things, honestly, but reality, I'm trying to avoid them as much as I possibly can, to be quite honest, because one of the factors is basically, it's one of those things where I'm not too sure exactly as to what should be done, what shouldn't be done. It's a case where, it is something that I'm not too keen on discussing about. And I think you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's, like I said, something I'm trying to avoid as much as possible, quite honestly. But you know what? I mean, it's up to you, the viewers, to feel what you want to feel about it, basically. Because honestly, I'm not going to say much about it. It's not for me to say. It is what it is, as the person would say, basically. But quite honestly, it's a case where, you know what? Sorry, that's on me. I mean, honestly, it's not for me to say anything, but I mean, quite honestly, I'm just going to leave it at that, and you have your own opinions. I'm not going to post any opinions about it, because like it's there. It's happened. Whether he goes to jail or not, I don't know. You know what? I will say one thing though. It's the factor of what he's going for to jail for. Uh, Quite honestly, if we're all pissed off the fact that he had an affair, honestly, I think that's the wrong thing, basically, because this is a case where, like, you know what? That's a marital issue, not a kind of a criminal issue. About hush money being used in this aspect, I don't know. Like, as far as, like, I mean, this is all about the hush money. You know, like, this is the way of them going after Trump for something that he had an illicit affair, basically. That you're going after something about that, basically. I mean, did he really lie in his taxes? No. If he did, then hey, boom. But you know what? In reality, it's just more of a case where like he chose not to disclose information of the money that how those two were paid for, basically. That's I think I don't think it's hogwash. I don't think it's a political agenda. I think it's more of a case where like they know they won't be able to get him for anything else outside of that. So like let's go after him for this, the low hanging fruit. I mean, it's almost like an Al Capone type of thing. They went for Al Capone for rather than going for all the murders and all the dealings and drug dealings, etc. Basically, that he was involved in, being head of a mafioso family. Uh, they went after him for accounting, his like not tax, not paying his taxes and such. Yeah, it put him in jail, but not for the right reason, quite honestly. So this is the same thing for me, basically. It's like you're putting him in jail for something that wasn't really relegated to what he should be going for, which is trying to overturn the election and then also the other aspect of the January 6th riots. But you know what? That's, like I said, I don't know if this is a, I don't know, honestly. It's not my place to say, quite honestly, because the thing is, if this man gets indicted for that, then who else should be indicted for this at that point? I mean, if that's the case, then why isn't Clinton being indicted? I mean, the guy basically literally lied and perjured himself about saying that he had, relations within the Oval Office. Now you could say, oh well, it's not any different. It isn't, but yet it is, because it's a case of did he use his power to influence that at that point as well too. That's the question. And if that's the situation, then the other aspects is like all other past presidents and for future presidents to that point as well too. Will they have the ability to be indicted at that point? That's a possibility. The thing is like like, is he criminally? Are we treating him identically to every other known criminal, or not every known criminal, but everyone that has been charged on the same charges and felony accounts that he's being charged for? If he's getting thrown into jail, if he's supposedly going to go to jail for like 5 years, whereas other people that have done this exact same thing have just gotten a slap on the wrist, then you're not treating the man fairly at that point, quite honestly. And that's a case where, like, this is more for show bidding type of thing, more than anything else. I mean, if this is a case where, like, we're going after the man because he slept with another woman and cheated on his wife, honestly, if that's the case, then almost half of Hollywood, or 3/4 of Hollywood, would be in prison at this point as well, too. And for that matter, anyone else, I mean, in the business world, as well as in law enforcement for sure, they would be in jail for that point as well, too, because, like, a lot of them do have extramarital affairs, so... But in any case, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, you know what? I shouldn't have said any of this. But it is what it is. It's done. I'm not a huge fan of Trump, but at the same time, I think we're going for him for the wrong reasons. To be quite honest with you, it's the wrong reasons. I think for the other two accounts that they're looking for at him, basically trying to get him for, I think they should look into that more and try to get those two aspects to get him at that point. This is even though it's low hanging, I think this was just the guy trying to get a name for himself, basically, quite honestly, more than anything else. Like, I mean, honestly, at least Giuliani going after all the mob bosses. Granted, he was still wackadoo, but as an attorney general, he got the mob bosses the way they were. Like most of them, basically under the RICO law, he got them from that aspect, not for accounting purposes, like the way they got the Treasury Department got Al Capone. But he got Castellano and all the others basically for racketeering and murder charges and such. If the U.S. District Attorney can get Trump for, the election tampering as well as the January 6th issue, not issue, but January 6th riots and such, and as far as inciting it and such, then great. But if they can't do that and they're going after for this, I mean, like, that's just the wrong reason. And you know what? That's opening up a lot more things for a lot more presidents down the line, and any other future leaders for that matter at that point as well too. And this is going to set a huge precedent at that point as well too. But anyways, with that, I'll just leave it at that. Again, if you disagree with me on that, I welcome your comments. Go ahead and put it in the comment section. I do, as I said, I do read my comments. And of course, if you do like my channel or you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the like button. And with that, I'll leave it at that. Until next time, unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed.